What's going on? It's Mario, Final Approach Podcast. We got some great stuff today. So first of all, appreciate you guys checking in. Thanks to Federal Ammunition and Rogers Sporting Goods, Weatherby, Sass Goose Company, and Loophole just for being partners with us and doing stuff with us. Down in Arkansas and hunting with, there's no other way to say it. Arkansas royalty. The Viking here we talked about this for years. So I go to Iceland. He comes over here. So he's like, you got to come down to Pat's place and we're going to go hunt with Pat Pitt. And finally we get down here. So the name of the duck club is Pat. What is it called? Because I don't want to.
Langell Lounge Duck Club.
And where did that come from? Was that anything special or?
We're at the headwaters of the Langell River.
Gotcha.
The thing that is hard to grasp, Langell, it's actually pronounced Langui. It's French for water snake.
Really?
Yep. And I have yet to see a Frenchman running around up here, but somehow or another, that's how that river was named. And this Langell River, everybody calls it Langell because it's southern pronunciation of French. Runs all the way down into the White River that runs into the Mississippi River that runs into the Gulf of America. So,
is it a windy river? You think that's why they said, it's the snake, you know what I mean?
Well, they've channelized a lot of it. The farmers,
for sure.
Ever so often, they'll build dams, not hydroelectric dams, but just dams to back some of the water up so they can relift out of the river into their fields.
Right.
But there's two ditches that come together right down the road here and forms the Langell, and it runs down beside Claypool Reservoir, and once it gets below Highway 14, it starts spreading out.
So we're going to talk about Claypool for sure. Tilly's with us, by the way. If you have not seen her on the couch, Tilly's there. Tilly's how old now?
She's 10.
She's 10. She's still
11,
going. Yeah.
11 in May. She's like me. She doesn't realize how old she is.
Well, she's been doing good work while we're here, so we're all about it. Let's start at Claypool. You know what I mean? Like you see, if you're into waterfowl hunting, at some point, no matter if you're hardcore or you're not, you've seen that picture of Claypool's reservoir, right?
They call it the Claypool Million. There was about anywhere from 350,000 plus or minus ducks in that picture. I've got one of the unpublished pictures that Johnny Riley, that was the caretaker of it for many years, had given me. And the way I met Johnny, I killed a bird down on the Cache River.
Okay.
That was banded at Claypool.
Really?
All right, I killed a greenhead, and I always wanted to see what Claypool was all about. But it was just a mystery word to me. But then I started reading the history of Claypool Reservoir and Mr. Claypool when he bought it and all this business. But the picture, you got to understand, this was back in the black and white days when they were carrying cameras of the size of television sets.
Right.
And Dave Garraway's Wide Wide World in 1956, they came up with the idea to do this, okay? And all the surrounding clubs, Chase Club, and there were several other big clubs, got rallied all their birds off their reservoirs to come into Claypool. And then this farm that we're on, the Evans farm, Lloyd Ray Evans, and I think Lloyd Ray's like 83. He was one of the kids at that time running around through the wood, the timber, pushed them out of the timber onto the reservoir. And how they coordinated all that, and they laid thousands of feet of cable, to get the camera set up and all that business. And this was done live. It wasn't cut, take two.
Right.
They had one shot at this. And those that have seen the video of the ducks, it's just like dying and going to heaven if you're a Mallard aficionado. Cause I mean, it was something to see. And I've got videos, and I've got prints, and I've got memories too, because I've hunted Claypool.
Well, and that's what I want to know. So how old are you when you shoot that duck that's banded, and then you go over there to, or how does it go down where you get over there?
Well, just like anything else, I looked it up on the map and said, "Here it is. Let's go look."
Yeah.
And I walked up, knocked on the door of the clubhouse, and Johnny Riley was a very imposing figure. Shaking hands with him was like trying to palm a basketball. I mean,
Well, and you're how old at this time?
I was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Okay.
All right, and I'm 77 now.
Okay.
All right, and it was, you know, I felt like I was looking up at God, you know. Hi, Mr. Riley, you know. And he was like, "My name's Johnny." Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's the only man, and Fred can vouch for this. He's the only man that I would sit down and drink a cup of coffee with.
Yeah.
Because I don't drink coffee.
No, I've tried it.
Johnny would say, "Come on in, let's have a cup of coffee."
And off
Yes,
you
sir.
go. And off you go.
You know. But the history of Claypools is, luckily it's deeded in perpetuity to Ducks Unlimited.
Right.
It can't be developed, cleared, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, the clubhouse, I think this is the second or third clubhouse. One of them burned down not too many years ago. But
How big of a property are we talking about? You know, because I don't know it offhand. You know what I mean? How big is that? How big's the reservoir? I guess.
well, the reservoir's not all that big.
Right.
I don't think the property itself, and I'd have to look, and I
Yeah.
should know as much as I've been around it, is over 2,000 acres. It's probably less than that.
Right.
You know, the reservoir's in the middle, and they got green timber all around it that they seasonally flooded. And the unique thing about the reservoir, we'd go down there late in the evening and watch the birds come out to go feed at night, and it was a steady stream of ducks until it was so dark you couldn't see them. And but we had a pit leased next to it, and I was down there doing something one afternoon, and I drove around by Pecan Ditch. Pecan Ditch ran just beside the reservoir going down into the Langell River. Okay. All these ditches connect
Right.
to one river that connects to a bigger river. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Right.
So I was down on the lower end of Pecan Ditch, and the water coming down through there looked like you could kayak. And I'm like, what is going on? So there was a road, four-wheel drive, coming up, and I was coming up beside the ditch, and the reservoir was blown out. I mean, there was a hole in the big main levee of the reservoir that I could have driven my truck through. So I got on the phone. I just shut down right there. I got on the phone. I called my good friend Larry Redmond that gosh damn, we killed so many ducks together. Fred's hunted with it too. But I called Larry. I said, I need to get in touch with Johnny. I said, the reservoir's blown. He said, what do you mean blown? I said, there's a great big empty
Right.
where the top of the reservoir is, the levee. Well, originally it wasn't really a levee because you could drive that too.
Right.
And man, water was coming through there, and got on the phone. Johnny got down there. They had a front end loader with a couple of hay bales, round bales, and they dropped them in, and they just washed right on through.
Right.
So they had to call somebody with an excavator, a track hoe, and they walked that excavator all the way down from Claypool Lane to get down there. He actually got down in the Pecan Ditch and reached up and pulled himself up on top of the Claypool levee and started dragging debris and dirt and everything he could into the hole. It was washing so fast
Sure.
that he turned around with Plan B and he started digging fresh dirt out of the levee that he was sitting on.
Right.
Okay. Well, they went and got a cotton trailer and brought it down there, and he got the cotton trailer in the hole. And of course,
Just to block it.
just to give all this dirt and stuff
Something
to grab hold of. Well, he spent about an hour and got it stopped. Got it, and like I say, he dug big holes in the levee. He would track back down and go down the ditch and get back up on the other side. It was amazing to watch him.
Oh, I bet.
But they dug out half the levee, and then when he got done, he reached down into Pecan Ditch and picked up all the gooey mud and put it back in the holes on the levee. And I mean, this was an all-day affair, and that reservoir dropped. Oh gosh, you could see stumps that hadn't seen daylight for years out there.
Oh, I bet. I mean,
But,
you take anything that blows out like that, you're talking about some serious
It was
pressure
some
and a
serious
lot of water.
It's like a dam breaching.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a rather lengthy story about some of the things that happened there. But,
Yeah, but if you don't get that, if they don't get that fixed, right? If they
well,
don't act,
it would have drained the whole reservoir,
Right.
and those ducks would have shown up to a mud hole. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there were ducks on it late in the afternoon when it happened. But that's just some of the things a lot of people that duck hunt don't understand. It's not load your gun and shoot. There's a lot that goes into here at the lounge. We'll spend a bunch of money that most of our wives don't know how much, and we'll do a lot of work before we ever put
never
safety
ending.
off first time. And
it's all
never
year.
ending.
It's all year.
Well, I have to check water and make sure we don't have a water control structure that's blown out. There's just a lot of things that I have to keep up with around here. But it's a labor of love. That's
Well,
because if you're gonna play, you gotta pay.
that's why you do it. You know what I mean?
Either through blood, sweat, and tears,
Or your billfold.
your bill folks.
it's an all year. It's an all year, all life deal.
But the history of Claypool, anybody that duck hunts, surely they've heard of
So
Claypool.
was it hunted always? Was it bought for a hunting property? Like what? Like is that he just bought it and he wanted to hunt it and that's the whole. Like, how did that start?
Wallace Claypool bought it from a friend of his that there were so many green timber holes around this area that were like Greenbrier Woods on the Roberts farm and
Right.
that had been cut down and drained and all that business. And he bought it as a recreational property to fish in the summer and duck hunt in the winter.
Yeah.
And, Sitzer's Reservoir is another one. Y'all probably passed it today coming back where we hunted, that big reservoir to the left.
Yep.
I mean, that's Sitzer's Reservoir, and they got 800 acres of green timber
Give or take.
thereabout that Mr. Sitzer, and he's gone now, he paid like $5 an acre for it. Okay? I mean,
Can you imagine that? And you know what? That was probably a lot of money at the time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I know we're laughing at that, but
This was back in the 40s, or
sure.
if I can get my DVD hooked up to that TV, I've got a video of Sitzer's Reservoir, the Chicago hole. More ducks coming into they estimated 3,000 ducks hit the water, and they got it videoed. And of course, it was back in the 50s, I guess.
Right.
But it's, there's a lot of places like that. And now some of the people that can afford it are buying land and trying to put it back into duck production.
Right. What it used to be.
We've got some big holdings, like White Oak Duck Woods, River Oaks, Straight Lake, that Island 34 and the Mississippi River that are
Right.
holding just thousands of ducks.
Right.
And some people are bitching about it, that they got all the ducks.
Right.
Well, if they didn't provide a sanctuary for them, where are they going to go?
You're right. It's a double-edged sword. If you don't do enough to keep them in the area, like you guys have this right here, the rest area. every place should have a rest area. There's no doubt about it. If you can afford it, you know what I mean? If you have enough property to have a certain section, that's a rest area. That helps keep birds around. That lets them stay settled. And you're also feeding the ducks. I always say at our place and just about every other place, we're going to feed more ducks than we're going to kill. There's no doubt about it. If anybody's killing more ducks than they're feeding, I haven't seen it.
Well, all these fields that are flooded between here and the river and around the other side are like a buffer for the fields that we hunt.
Right.
And, it's great to ride by and see all the ducks sitting out there
Absolutely.
all calm.
Yep.
But, we feed off of that. And a good friend of mine, Chris Aiken, as far as I'm concerned, top dog trainer in the country for gun dogs. This is my 9th one right here, and he's trained her.
Yeah.
I've had several from him, some amazing dogs I've had from him. Chris Aiken says, you need to feed off the interest, not the principle.
Yeah.
You need to hunt the interest, not the principle.
Yeah.
Because people will have, a field that's full of ducks, and they're going there and blow them out. Well, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to go to Indiana or somewhere. I mean,
Right.
it's just,
Right.
you gotta take care of the resource, and it's basically blue collar that's doing it.
Yes.
A lot of us, may not have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of, but if you're going to have something, you need to take care of it. It doesn't matter if it's 50 acres or 5,000.
For sure. And going with that, you go back to everybody will say, well, Missouri's holding all the birds because they're feeding them. And, because I get it out by me. Washington's holding all the birds above us. They did all these corn ponds and nothing's coming down and all this other stuff. And I'm like, farming practices have changed. And a lot more people are buying places to feed the birds, to help the birds, to help their hunting, to do all of that.
Well, I'll give you a good example of that. In the past, you'd give a farmer lease money, he'd hand it to his wife and say, go Christmas shopping or get your hair done or whatever.
Right.
Now that money goes into fuel tanks and all that. And 14,000 acres, not 20 minutes from here,
Okay.
just sold to a group of guys that are going to turn it into a duck.
Sanctuary.
$44 million is what it went for. That ain't chump change. They're not gonna, they spent that money, they're not planning on hunting it for 5 years. And
So-
here's the deal.
I'm going to do the math on
If
that,
you
but go
don't
ahead.
imprint birds in your area, and then, cause they'll keep bringing their broods back if they survive the gauntlet coming from Canada down
Right.
here. But it's necessary to do that if you're going to have anything, which brings me to the fact that dead hens lay no eggs. Why in the hell would you shoot one?
That's right.
Except to make the tailgate picture higher or taller, or you're strapped full, or I got the limit.
So these guys buy that for $44 million, right? So they do that. So I'm guessing, we were talking about it the other day when you said that, my mind starts going. They have to have other places to hunt, right? Because they're not just buying that to just not hunt for 5 years, right? But I get what they're doing. And I'm sure people are going to be pissed about it or whatever. They're holding all the ducks and they're not hunting it or whatever. It's just going to bring more birds into the area. Like you can't feed them all year on one place. I don't care how much you plant.
Well, I
It's
mean,
impossible.
okay, so the nucleus of the Arkansas population is right here.
Right.
Well, it expands, weather related.
Sure.
We've had 3 inches of rain today.
Oh, it's unreal.
Ducks are hitting sheet water.
For sure.
I mean, when we came back from hunting this morning, there were mallards in road ditches, and every field that's been bone dry has got sheet water on it, and they're out there.
New food.
New food. The buffet is open.
It is new food everywhere. Even places that, whatever, in the woods or in whatever, it's come up and now there's new food. They're always chasing that new food line when the water's coming up. I mean, we get it a lot by me just because of the amount of rain we get. It's normal. And I watch them go. I watch them go up, and then as it recesses, all that seed and stuff is on the bank, and everything is there as it comes down. All that debris, and you never know what's. So then they start feeding into that. So they go for it.
Ducks are like fish. When the rivers come up, the fish will follow the rise. Okay?
Yep.
When the rivers come up, the ducks will push as far in as they can, on that new water because
right.
it exposes new food.
That's right.
I mean, it's just that simple. It's not. It's not something that you drink.
It's not hard to figure out for sure.
No, it's not. But I mean, you got to think about what's going to happen. Just like we had a thaw, we were froze. I don't know, 4 or 5 days. I'm talking 3-inch ice.
Solid.
And we had a thaw, and I told everybody, I said, y'all need to be here. I'm not talking about when it completely melts. You need to be here when it starts melting.
Right.
And Saturday it was game on. And I mean, it wasn't my first rodeo. I've seen it before. But
Yeah.
14 of us, and God bless these guys for listening to me. We did not kill a single hen mallard. We had 53 greenheads. And all the pintails were drakes.
Right.
And the guys that were hunting, we have one pit that killed, we refilled it 3 times, and I think there was 32 or 33 greenheads killed out of it. And I tell the guys, you shoot your mallards, get out. Don't get out there and play with them, to see how good your kazoo works.
Not on a day like that. Not when you're trying to turn them around quick.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with specs too. You kill your specs and then leave them alone, But, you live for a day like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why you go through all the tough days, bad days, humping through mud, stuff getting stuck, boat motors, batteries dying, everything going wrong. That's why that's why you do it.
I've had 3 zeros this year. That's highly unusual.
I was going to say, like, when's the last time you've had zeros?
That many?
Yeah, that's
Probably when I was 16 and first started duck hunting.
This year for sure has been, I'm not as old as you. I haven't hunted as long as you, but this is the craziest, worst year. And I say that just in numbers. Did I have a great year? Yes, I had a fantastic year. I've hunted a bunch of places. I had fun every day, no matter if we were shooting 2, 1, 0, or 50. And I got to take my son, who got into it pretty heavy with his buddies in high school, and I had a bunch of first ducks. Everybody shot their first ducks. This kid shot his first wood duck. This kid shot his first widgeon. Like, whatever. Like, it was a great season for that. But just in general, craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, we never got a push, what I'd call a legitimate push.
Agree.
The imprinted birds were down here by Halloween, basically.
Okay.
And the mallards that we're seeing
Right.
are the October birds that are
That
looking for the new buffet because a lot of the food sources are wore out. Farming practices have gotten so good that they're not leaving as much waste grain as they used to.
Yes.
And
for sure.
And like I say, farming in this area isn't a hobby. I mean,
Right,
these
they're
guys
doing it.
They do it to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
So even with that said, like, farmer excess that's left is down. Like you said, they're more efficient, right?
Yep.
But people planting and doing stuff for the ducks is higher. But back, whatever, say 20 years ago, wasn't that different? Farming equipment wasn't as good, so it was leaving, more excess, but
Yeah.
there was less guys planting. Like, that has to work out. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but the numbers had to be, the scale was like this.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. Well, it's like back home. The combines they have now harvesting the barley, they are like, you go into a field that's been harvested, 15 years ago, you'd go in there and you'd see, you know, in the stubble rows, you turn the stubble row around, and
There'd
there's
be a pop.
there's
Right.
there's a bunch of seed in there.
Right.
You do it today, and it's like they came in there with a damn vacuum cleaner. There's nothing in there, and you're like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Well, they've gone to, stripper headers, and the farmer that this house we lease from, everything, they got 40-foot headers on the front of a $750,000 combine.
Yeah.
And I mean, when this bean field back here behind us,
Yep.
they ran 2 combines back there, and they had it gone by less than 3 hours.
In and out.
And efficient, like you said, and efficiently leaving the least amount
Yep.
there.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were using conventional headers, but the stripper headers on the rice, work on a vacuum system.
Yep.
And we had a lot of down rice this year.
Which helps the birds.
Yeah, but there again, they had more efficient equipment where they were deadheading the rice.
Right.
Yet you can only do it going one way, but they were getting most of that rice up and in the combine,
Yeah.
in the bean buggies.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna spend that kind of money.
Like you said, they're not doing it for a hobby.
No, it's
So
not.
so they got to get as much as they can, and they're not worried about us. They're not
No.
worried about hunters or the ducks, unless you're saying, "Hey, this one's for the ducks. We're doing this." Like whatever the case, whatever it is, like, or you're planting for the ducks. That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's. I don't ever talk to any of the farmers that we lease from
Right.
during growing season.
Right.
I don't want to ask them some stupid question about, a duck pit that I need moved or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
They got enough worries about
They're busy.
stuff breaking down and
Right.
and whatnot. So,
Right.
God bless the farmers, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if it wasn't for them,
Well, for sure.
We'd be naked, sober, and hungry.
yeah.
That's just the way it is.
That's a visual.
Yeah, I don't want to I need to erase that image.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Oh my God. So we're talking. We got the Viking, which they call him Fred down here in Arkansas, and we're talking with Pat Pitt, and we're just going through some Arkansas history and just history in general about duck hunting, and we've talked about Claypool's Reservoir, and so you've hunted Claypool's Reservoir as well.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that, or when was that? I don't know anybody that's hunted it. I don't know anybody knows somebody other than that has hunted it. It's you.
Well, there was basically 3 families involved that were from Mr. Claypool, and they only hunted it. Originally, it was Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
If opening day fell on a day that wasn't that, they didn't hunt it.
They didn't hunt it.
Really? Okay.
So, my good friend Larry Redmond, back when Roy Rhodes was making duck calls,
Yep, I remember that. Okay.
he
Wow.
he said, "We're going to go into Claypools and film." Okay, so he said, "I want you to come, bring your dog, blah blah." Well, that's fine. Well, we went in there at first light, and I mean, it was not really, but it was almost like tripping over mallards trying to get into the hole. I mean, they were just all in the woods. And we shot limits and videoed and all that business. And
Right.
then another time, one of the game wardens in this county was a good friend of mine, and he took me and the boys, Patrick and Stephen, in there and hunted. And I mean, it was almost surreal.
As good as advertised and talked about.
I mean, and it's one of those things. If you weren't there, you couldn't imagine what it's like.
Right.
That's the way it was.
Well, you get that first 2 or 3 mallards to break the top of the timber and start sucking into the hole, and you got a vortex of birds coming in. I mean, it's just, when I've hunted Sisters Woods with Larry Grisham, a good friend of mine that was the, the driving force behind the Arkansas Duck Stamp publishing it.
Oh yeah.
We've gone into some of the holes over there. I've hunted all of them, but I know we went into the Walker hole one day. I think
That's where we went. Yep.
they never left the boat landing until sunrise.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to shoot hens. And when we went into the Walker hole, and I can't count that many. It looked like somebody had kicked a fire ant mound. I mean, the birds coming in on the water, it was just mesmerizing. We never pulled the trigger. We just sat there and watched them. I mean, we were still sitting in the boat, and the ducks were dang near bouncing off of it. And we pushed the boat back up in the trees, and all those ducks swam off out in the timber. And I mean, it was just, your ears were going whack, whack, whack from all the ducks. But I mean, shooting a limit was no big deal after what we'd seen. And I'm guessing that first tornado that came in, there was, I asked Larry and Bill, the other guy that was hunting, I said, I want y'all to think of how many ducks we saw hit the water when we got here, and let's see how close we are. We had estimates anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000, okay? And I mean, it was, you could almost catch them. I'd be leaning up against a tree when we got out of the boat, and I mean, they'd splash water on me. And they'd look up at me and say, oh, fat kid, and they'd swim off. And you can't put a price on that.
Sure.
And there's so many people that would have been
Just mowing them down.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
just and not getting anything.
Special moment for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, like I say, the most ducks I've ever had in front of me at one time, I never pushed safety off.
I've seen it. Not like that, but same thing with me. I've seen stuff like that, and just watching them
Yep.
and enjoying it and seeing it. You know, when are you going to see that again? I don't know. Maybe never.
Never.
So
I won't see it again.
like
my grandkids won't.
right. So when's the last time you hunted there? And then when's the last time anyone hunted it there? Do you know? Well, you probably know when you hunted it last.
You talking about
Claypool?
Claypool?
Yeah. Claypool.
Oh gosh, it's been since before Larry passed away. It's been 15, maybe 20 years.
Okay.
You know.
And when did they stop? When did they stop hunting it?
Oh, they still hunt it.
They still hunt it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the family or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have gotten older, and of
Sure.
course, like me, but they've got nieces and nephews and in-laws and outlaws.
Yeah.
And,
It'll never leave the family.
no,
Like it'll
no.
never come up for
Well,
sale.
They can't.
I know it's still like you said, it's in the DU, it's all in, but I'm saying ownership would never change on the property.
I feel certain it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, why would it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
It makes sense.
even if you come over and fish in the summer or whatever, but there's a lot of places like that around. I mean, maybe not with that history.
No, but like White Oaks and
Well, they're creating legacies
Right.
of duck property now. You know, because if you don't, you're standing in line at some management area hoping you get a draw for a blind.
sure.
I mean, and I refuse to hunt public ground. I just don't want to be in that dog and pony show.
It's a different deal.
2 years ago, up here on Black River, there was, and I'm not sure exact, there was 91 or 92 people in one hole. The game wardens pulled in there to try to keep people from shooting one another, because the rules read, just because you get to a hole on public doesn't mean that another party can't come in there and hunt too. And there were 90-something people in one hole up there. There's a video that's been circulating you can't leave the boat ramp
Until
launch
like 4 or something.
till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it looked like one of these county fairs with the bumper cars.
I've seen, everybody's seen the videos. The boat race, you
Yeah.
know, the opening morning or whatever boat race, and guys just
Boats
smashing
were
into each
climbing
other.
up on top of other boats, and you know, it's a duck ain't worth that to me.
I don't know if I would have done that when I was younger. I still would have probably looked at that and said,
Nah,
that's
not
not
for
for
me."
me. I've always been, and this is just me, but I've always been, I would rather go on some stretch of river in the middle of nowhere and work 2 ducks and maybe shoot 2 or maybe shoot 1 or whatever, than fight it out. And this is just me, and anybody can do whatever they want. And if they like the combat hunting, you know what I mean, on public, and they want to fight, you know, they want to call against another group, like, I would just rather have the peace and quiet of working birds and just enjoying the whole experience than shooting a 10-man limit somewhere with a bunch of guys in just a combat situation. I don't know. That's just me.
They've taken it a step further. They got hole runners that are in boats with no gear and
Just
surface
fast boats.
drives, and you know, some places have horsepower limits. and
Correct.
whatnot.
I've seen that.
But these hole runners are going to the holes, okay?
Yep.
And they're doing their best to,
Hold it.
to hold, keep people out of it. And another thing they're doing is 3 or 4 hole runners in a group of 15 guys or 20.
Right.
They'll spread out and get into several different holes
Close by.
around the hole they want to hunt. And then 5 minutes before shooting time, they all pull in together. I mean, everybody's going to try to figure out how to beat the system.
For sure. For sure. And unless they change a rule, it is what it is. And listen, Arkansas is what it is, but there's other places that I'm sure it's the same thing. I mean, oh my God, you guys probably saw it too, because you just see everything all the time. 2 guys in the middle of the timber in the hole, and their waders waist high, just duking it out. And I'm going, like,
Is this worth it?
Like,
and you know there's someone there, you know, everyone there has a gun. At what point in time is
somebody do something stupid?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking for Arkansas to start do a draw system they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if 30, 40 guys are out there, and these channels going out to the main river
Are tight.
they're tight. You can't go side by side out them, and
No.
you're following a boat that's got a little 99 horsepower motor on it, and you got a 40 on the back of yours. You can't pass him
Right.
unless you just push him off out in the woods. But somebody's gonna get killed,
Someone's going to
and
get
some hotshot lawyer's gonna figure out a way to sue the state of Arkansas for not taking control of it. That's what I think.
And
okay?
then they're going to have to do something.
Well, it's like I say, I'd quit duck hunting before I'd have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them, and this is the younger generation that I call the Robo Cowboy flat brim hat, barrel sticker, face painted, rock star wannabes.
Yeah.
But you know, and all they care about is a pile picture, and you'll see 30, 40 mallards on a log laying there, and half of them are hens. It's just.
And I think about that too, and I always go, every duck hunter who's been duck hunting for a long time, you've kind of gone through like progressions in your duck hunting career. Mm-hmm. You lived for shooting a limit and killing birds and doing stuff, and then you progress, and then you get more into, hey, I got to give back and conservation, and then maybe you get some money, and then you get a place, and you have a place like we were talking about where this part's refuge for the birds, and it's just a progression. But the thing that I don't think me personally, that I've ever not had is respect for the birds, and that probably has not let me do stupid shit. How's that? You know what I mean? No matter what. So
respect for the resource should be paramount in everybody's mind. These pictures you see where somebody's got a duck bill stuck down in a gun barrel. I mean, Can you get any more stupid? I mean, what does that tell? That tells me this is some guy that I don't want him to be in the same part of the world with.
Yep.
But it's respect. There's no respect for the bird.
It's disrespectful in
You
every
know, now
manner.
listen, you lay them on the tailgate, you show like the wingtips, like you're really, you know, we shoot a prime, you know, widgeon the other day. I'm so excited. Look at the colors. That the gadwall that you guys had was an absolute monster, and I'm going, man, look at that. Like you just appreciate the birds, and you know, when you're saying that, I think one thing that I think if I could change anything on social, I try to not get in any conversations on social because Buck Gardner told me one thing a long time ago that has stuck with me forever, and this was when, yeah, I know you do. So he said, if you get in a fight with a skunk, it doesn't matter if you win, you're still going to come out smelling like a skunk. Yeah. Win or lose, right? So on social, that's it. So I try to stay out of it. But the one thing that I cannot stand is I see a guy and he has a picture and he shoots a hooded merganser and maybe a freaking teal, whatever, right? And he's all happy and he posts the pictures and everybody jumps his ass about how stupid, you know, this. And the first thing that I think of, I don't know the guy's situation, right? No. So, and I'm hoping to God the guy has one day a week to hunt, maybe has one day a month to hunt, and he's not as fortunate as me to go as much as I go. And he got out. He had decoys, he had birds working, he had all this, maybe he had a dog, maybe he didn't, and he shot 2 birds and he's happy as shit and he posts the picture.
Everybody runs him down.
Yeah. Is that really what we want to do on that one? Like, that's the one that bothers me the most.
It's a long time since.
Social media, everybody's hiding behind a name. They don't know each other, and it's just.
I just wish that one would change.
It's a shame, it really is, because
young guys getting into it,
yeah,
newbies getting into it, no matter how old they are, they could be 50 and start duck hunting. If they shoot a couple birds, I'm super happy.
Yeah.
There aren't many mentors around like they used to be.
Not anymore.
When I was growing up,
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, you know.
Well, you know what? Hold that mentor thought, because I wanna come back to that. So let's do this. We're talking to Pat Pitt. I got the Viking with me. We're gonna cut, and we're actually gonna do a part 2 because I want to talk about mentors and stuff like that. So we'll start another podcast here in just a hot minute. So big shout outs to Leupold, Federal, Weatherby, Rogers Sporting Goods, and Sass Goose Company that help us do all this. Hit us up at fabrand.com. Hit the website. Hit the YouTube channel, and wherever you hear all the podcasts or see them, go to it.